Э, Снова я, снова с нахуй никому не нужным видосом по вампир, Become Human, Детройт, Сити, разговор, толк. Вообще мы продолжаем листать диалоги. Потому что, почему? Правильно, потому что мы идем на лучшую концовку, а лучшая концовка достигается позитивными действиями. Нахуй драться, лучше со всеми пиздеть. Так, ну я помню, нам сейчас надо договориться со всеми в больнице, чтобы уж закрыть наконец-то этот гештальт. И можно отправляться в Уайтчапел. Искать того, кто... О чем мы там делали? Мы хотим помочь леди Эшбери. Так. Во-первых, есть ли у нас кто-нибудь болеющий? Ой, да, от головной боли нужно средство чуваку. У нас еще вот типа, мы с Клеем Коксом до конца не пиздели. Мы до конца мы вообще с Ракешем не разговаривали, мы с Томасом Элвудом не разговаривали, с этими не разговаривали, у нас еще вот сколько с знаком вопросиков, с кем мы не коммуницировали. Потом смотри, сколько у нас есть в Порте, в Уайтчапел и этот я не помню, как называется. Району тоже, блядь, до пизды людей. Ой, я могу на них нацелиться, господи. Так, ну, попиздим с Коксом.
Hey, Doc.
Здорово, дурак.
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water?
The wound you gave me will make sure I don't forget him. Still fucking hurts. Boss had cut me good.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor asshole thought he wouldn't be.
Блин, вот видно, что как бы персонаж негативный. И все равно его сжрать нельзя, блядь. Ну, в плане можно, но тогда лучшей концовки не будет. Чудовище, блядь.
Mr. Cox. An ungrateful and disgusting man.
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. As long as I'm treated all right, I'll be fine.
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton, I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I see. Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad, and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
Так, походу мы где-то нашли... Блядь, не понимаю, откуда мы нашли столько подсказок о нем. Вот откуда мы знаем вот это вот. Где-то, наверное, какую-то записку нашел, скорее всего. Может, в канализации, где мы с Вервульфом сражались.
What can you tell me about your marriage, Clay?
Marriage is the sweetest cage, they say. Well, I found myself locked in one with a wild animal.
You mean your wife keeps you on your toes?
No, I mean, we both have claws and we both love to bite.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully. I won't get caught.
Всем
We
приходится
can't
платить по
escape the
счетам.
consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end.
I ain't afraid of death. I don't hide who I am. I live my life honestly, which is more than I could say for most folks.
And who are you then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day I'll leave this shitty place and punch in the face all who
Мокрые
thought I would
ботинки,
not come
блядь.
back.
Даже острые козырьки звучит пафосно. Мокрые ботинки. Что тут можно придумать? Мокрые, потому что я наступил в лужу. Лужу твоей крови. И все такие: вау, ебать! Нет, позорище, блядь. Мокрые, потому что, блядь, такие долбоебы, как ты, под дождем сидят на кресле в крови, блядь.
Am I right to assume
Дебил.
your wife's letter pissed you off, Clay?
I was so mad I threw away the knife she got me when we got married.
Your wife gave you a knife as a wedding present.
That knife has always been my lucky charm. If I'd had it in my hand when I got stabbed on that pier, I'd not have been wounded.
Do you want it back?
I don't need it here, but if you'd be kind enough to bring it to me, I'd be really grateful.
A grateful Clay Cox? I might just find your knife and bring it back to you to see that happen.
I can give you directions, but I'd be surprised if you managed to find it. My hideout isn't meant to be found easily.
Так, блядь, может ты мне скажешь, где твой, блядь... Я бы хотел свой нож. И такой: я укажу тебе направление, но мое убежище скрыто, ты вряд ли его найдешь. Так скажи мне, как его найти, ты дебил, блядь. Я с каждой секунды жалею, что не сожрал этого идиота.
A lucky charm. I never would have taken you as the superstitious type.
We all have our flaws, Doc. Mine's to have my weapon at choice for when the really dirty business comes around.
Я, кстати, хотел бы повыполнять их сайд-квестики.
For now, Mr. Cox.
Я вообще в целом хочу... Я хочу выполнить множество ачивок здесь, и здесь есть ачивки из разряда найти все оружие в игре и найти, ну, типа, никого не съесть, пройдя игру. Вот я буду к этому стремиться. А всякие предметы можно находить, выполняя сайд-квест. Тут, кстати, чуваки. Интересно, за ними можно подглядывать или что?
It's locked.
Ебать, а я к вам хочу. Опутите. О, сундук. Может, еще тут есть? А как мне к вот этим господам-то попасть?
It's locked, all right.
Прием!
It's locked.
Может, должно время пройти, хотя ему вроде спать ложить. Ладно, хуй с ним. Ну, в другой раз с ним поговорим. Они обычно должны тусоваться снаружи, а тут... Что тут делаешь? Не стыдно, блядь, писать? Пошел нахуй. Блядь, я прям злюсь на него. Но жрать нельзя. Так. С тобой мы разговаривали. Во, тебя я помню.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Ну, это, наверное...
Beauty is not everything, Mr. Elwood.
Says Mr. Pretty Face.
Чего? Бля... Блин, вот это... Я могу еще раз?
Come on.
Beauty
Says
Tell me what really happened.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Ну, это на самом деле мило. Это реально на самом деле мило.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
And it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Ну, блин,
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
не знаю, хороший персонаж на самом деле.
Daily routine.
Да, обманывает, но объяснил, почему обманывает. Блять, я не хочу на вас нацелиться.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion make me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone.
В курсе, что мисс Хоукрофт... Или стоп.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for life.
Эмили, это и есть мисс Хоукрофт? Она здесь не отображается, да? Кстати, Шон это столб. Мне почему-то напоминает, как столпы в Demon Slayer, только здесь, столпы. Глава района. Блин, эти крестики меня так расстраивают. С одной стороны, все честно, реально, я не могу загрузиться. Я даже читал, помню, статью, где разработчик говорил, что здесь нету вот этих вот сохранений, здесь все построено на автосохранениях, они очень грамотно их сделали, чтобы ты не мог загружаться, чтобы ты жил с тем, что ты проебался. С одной стороны, реалистично, с другой стороны, такие, как я, которые один ебаный крестик просрался, меня из-за этого, мне это так злит. Я их даже жрать не собирался. Наверное, если бы я их хотел жрать, в плане, если бы я собирался их жрать, то это было бы еще сильнее меня бы это задевало.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers Trade Union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
No. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the
Интересная, кстати, мысль.
To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Может, кстати, действительно правда, что помогает общение с близкими во время болезни. Никогда этого не проверял, но как-то звучит правдеподобно. Так, лут. Да. Это мне. Так, у нас много народу. Со всеми попиздеть надо. Начнем с тебя.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swans's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Ебало, Сузи, блядь.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Мы добрые, мы добрые.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital instead of a burden.
Вот ты наверняка связан с той, блядь, плохой женщиной, которая валялась и всех шлюхами называла. Ты мне ее напоминаешь, только мужская версия. Ой, блядь, доктор Рид, вы чмоня. Пошел нахуй, я на тебя обиделся.
Since your tenure in this hospital,
Надеюсь, я все твои грязные секреты узнаю.
perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Это что у меня за подсказка? Уэрверли не одобряет современным методом медицины? Я чё, я, видимо, отвлекся, не заметил, ты чё тупой? Ты еще и тупой, блядь!
It seems you have bad memories of your military.
Ну конечно, ты там, видимо, блядь, ездили в армии.
War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is
Это ж под много жизней.
My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Да ёбыш ты знатный, блядь. Тебя еще придурка лечить придется, когда ты, блядь, подхватишь здесь что-то. Пиздец. У тебя еще и плащ лагает. Позорище, блядь, ты, а не врач. Да, пизжу, кто не без греха, блядь. Шиз, понял. Так, тут вроде мать Dead Insider. Здорово.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Дорогая, тебе помощь точно нужна со светом, блядь. Это пиздец. Что с волосами, мать?
I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
О, да, я талантливый.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, Thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Достойно,
What do
наверное,
you think of your reception here?
если я правильно понял.
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular?
Ну, дорогая, не нравится, иди нахуй. Если нету выбора, ебало на 0. Я чувствую, блядь, я, короче, вот персонаж у нас такой, получается, добрый, положительный врач, сдержанный, а играет за него, блядь, вот регистраторша Зина, блядь, которая нахуй всех, ебать, в этой больнице ненавидит, просто фибриями. Не то, что сплетничает, там что-то, а просто я, блядь, нахуй ненавижу вас всех здесь, у пидорасов.
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Пипи. Ах ты, сучка.
She charged you for a bed.
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail.
Чё?
I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear.
За суицид тогда могли в тюрьму посадить. Ничего себе, вообще впервые слышу. Надо проверить.
Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Так, ну давай подумаем, почему могли за суицид сажать? За попытку суицида. Но это либо идиотизм, да, кто-то кем-то придуманный, либо, допустим, человек умер в квартире, никто об этом не знает, спустя какое-то время, может целый месяц даже, приходит с него брать какую-то плату, а там он уже разложился, и там типа какая-нибудь ужасная вонь, пиздец, естественно, антисанитария жесткая, и тогда люди не могли, ну, типа, что там, наверное, дом сжигать, хотя это уж чересчур. Ну, не сжигать, а точнее, некому будет потом сдавать. Мне кажется, тут какая-то именно финансовая такая вот тема. Учитывая, что это Англия того времени, мне кажется, тут все дело в финансах. Так. Мои милые дети. О, кстати. О, да, я вот как раз подумал, что это у него, потому что он что-то там говорил то ли про сын, то ли про детей. Ага. Неужто ты еще один нормальный персонаж?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen.
I'm quite busy, right?
А, мы с тобой уже разговаривали.
Thank you.
Ты придурок.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Блин, мне кажется, что он из таких, который... Ну, пока что мне кажется, что вот он наверняка какую-то темную хуйню творит с мыслями о том, что я всем помогу, блядь, там детей ебу. Ну, Короче, я думаю, ты меня понимаешь. Я думаю, исследования изматывают на входе.
I'll give you some advice, but understand that nothing beats practical experience, which can be exhausting and solitary work.
Of course, sir. And don't worry, I will never allow myself to be a burden, neither to you nor this hospital.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious.
Ой, звучит как что-то плохое.
And methodical. You may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Интересно, я могу еще? У меня появилась подсказка.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Goodbye for now.
Так, кто у нас еще остался? Ракеш.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Ну, давай
Please show me
поторгуем.
what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just...
Ну, у тебя понятно, у тебя всякие такие можно. Компоненты покупать.
Good evening.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Да, мы ее сожрали.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
You may be right, but you'll go to jail if you're caught.
If ever I have to go to jail, I'm sure I'll find a way to help people there, too.
Ты ебанутый чувак какой-то.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Good news, we all die, блядь.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it.
Какой-то душный
What
Ракеш,
troubles
пиздец
me
просто.
is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Goodbye, Mr.
Ой, так, кажется, мы со всеми наконец-то поговорили. Ну вот этих двух, они где-то в подземке, мы их пока достать не можем. Можно с Пипой обсудить момент, где она мадаме за бабки койку дала. Что-то она охуела.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Эй, вот.
I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Так, а я до тебя не могу доебаться, да? Я, видимо, мне нужно еще что-то найти.
Goodbye.
Или попробовать с Милтоном это обсудить. Сейчас, мне просто интересен этот момент в плане механики. А, где Милтон? Вот там.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
Нет, интересно. Вечно не ту кнопку нажимаю. Так, а у меня что-то типа заданий дополнительных отображаться будут, блядь? Во. Так. Это у нас сайт-квестики. Его я спас. Здесь мы разобрались. Наверное, вот это я хочу. Я хочу по сайт-квестикам пробежаться. Потому что благодаря ним еще больше диалогов появится. Плюс торопиться нам некуда. Потому что мне до пизды еще фармить надо. Просто охереть сколько. Раз мы никого не убиваем, потом просто ужас будет. Так. Аккуратненько. Блять. Отлетела ж. Так, вот это мне даже прочитать не хочется. 3 дня назад от одного из наших рекрутов дошел слух о том, что некая женщина-вампир прячется в Пембрукской больнице, лондонский Ист-Энд. Нам известно лишь ее имя – Тельма. Ваша задача незаметно пробраться в больницу, наблюдать за действием вышеуказанного кровососа, затем сообщить о них нам. После этого мы решим, что будем предпринимать. Так, вроде лут закончился. О, это продолжение этого квеста. Найти местный командный пункт. Ну, давай пойдем, да. А я в принципе, я как поступить хочу? Я возьму и все эти сайд-квесты закрою до момента, когда я уже смогу о них поговорить с персонажем. Вот думаю, вот так вот. Чтобы не бегать туда-сюда постоянно. Так, О, я, блядь, 9-го левела, там уль 18-го. Ну да, ну да, ну да. Так. Блядь. Так. На. Блин. Фух. Так, я правильно иду? Да, мне туда надо идти. А сюда тоже, кстати, можно попасть. Ну ладно, просто запомнил, что сюда тоже можно зайти. Ой, 16-й, 17-й, 15-й, блядь, а я хочу ли я попытаться с ними драться? У них у всех в основе своей защита от дальнобоя. Ну, попытаться можно. Я не знаю, как далеко меня откинет на чекпоинт. Не, терпимо. Наверное, не просто урон ебанутый. Ну да, достаточно неприятный урон. Оп. Насмерть? Да, насмерть. Так. Отличненько. И в инвиз. От Куся никому не сбежать. Фух, победа. Несложно, на самом деле, было. Может, просто я когда играл, я плохо умел играть, поэтому он все время хуй сосал. Так, можно сюда зайти? Нельзя. Так, что-то есть? Если честно, я ни черта не вижу. Не знаю, на записи также. У меня просто солнце светит, пиздец как. Я тут в полной тьме. Я вообще, если честно, не понимаю, что я где, блядь. А. Не, Кусь мега сильный, просто пиздец как. Я практически способностями-то и не пользуюсь, я только Кусем и пользуюсь. Так, сэр, мы наблюдали за Пемберской больницей уже 2 недели и можем подтвердить, что там действительно действуют вампиры. Нихуя себе. Во-первых, у нас есть доказательства того, что в больнице находится женщина-кровосос. Это хитроумная тварь, чтобы замаскироваться, она ведет себя за психически больную. Лично пробрался в больницу, слышал, как это существо жалуется на то, что ей нужна кровь, на то, что ее тело разлагается. Это еще не все. Администратор больницы Суонси, по словам нашего командира, которая погибла вчера в бою со Скалем у канала, Суонси, возможно, является членом братства Святого Павла. Если это так, то в больнице, возможно, происходит что-то серьезное. Может, там даже логово вампиров, их защищают представители братства, мы не знаем, что делать. Мы убеждены, что нам стоит быстро прислать сюда подкрепление, тяжелое снаряжение. Гига смарт чат, блядь. Ну, она, короче, ныла, что кровь хочет. Ну, это однозначно, блядь, вампиреныш, ебать. О, боги. Кстати, у нас теперь есть кол Стражей Придвина. Есть обычный кол, а есть Стражей Придвина. Если найдем одноручку хорошую, можно будет рассматривать этот кол как вариант. Так, здесь мы все залутали. И что у нас теперь по сайд-квесту? Успокоить Тельму Хоукрофт. Отлично. Значит, теперь можно заняться вот, допустим, вот этим квестом. Вот далеко. Ага, он снизу. Так, а если это? А, ну совсем недалеко. Побежим по этому квесту тогда. И здесь такая заварушка, всего лишь, что там, 100 опыта каких-то дали. Жесть. Так, сюда можно было зайти. Я бы хотел сюда зайти. Конечно, это не по сайд-квесту, но вроде здесь что-то полезное может быть. Да, здесь этот, скажем так, пострадавший.
This is despicable.
Я случайно. Так, ну 13 уровень, я уже 16-м попиздился, поэтому мне похуй. Блять. Нормально. Здоровья, кстати, много достаточно установилось. Петиция. О. На Кадагана напали скали, желавшие отомстить своему бывшему домовладельцу. Интересно. Господи. Да, я просто врач, просто тут гулял. Сейчас я сначала все залутаю.
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
О, интересно, можно найти какую-нибудь слепую женщину.
What happened?
По мне не видно, я же врач, блядь.
You're safe now.
Oh, a fellow Englishman. Thank you, sir. For a moment I thought those bloody heathens had killed me.
What are you doing here? This place is not safe.
Yeah, it's a cesspool, but it's mine. I came to collect some overdue rent. But those who still live here have gone completely bonkers.
You're very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, filthy immigrants. Fucking savages, every one of them. And now with this bloody
Россия
fever, they're just
страшная.
animals.
You can find safety of sorts in Whitechapel. If you're quick and cautious, you'll be able to avoid the savages.
Все, давай, пока, блядь. Так, запись уже подходит к концу, уже час. Сделали хорошее дело, да попизделись практически со всеми. Осталось там всего лишь 2 чувака, которые, скорее всего, на следующий день отлагают и выйдут, дадут мне, блядь, пройти к ним, либо выйдут из того помещения. Как обычно, ставим лайки, подписываемся, нажимаем колокольчик. В пупок уже целовала, куда бы сейчас поцеловать? Поцелую в ушко. Вот. Пока-пока.